Welcome to episode 50 fucking 2 of the Webcomic Beacon Presents first issue.
Yay!
I'm Marcus.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Fes, and...
What the fuck is going on? Who is this guy? How did he get into my apartment? Why does he look like you?
Are we doing the evil Fest thing, really?
No, it's chaotic neutral fest.
We agreed no storyline.
That was the agreement. That's why we came here to begin with.
Let's just finish the 52.
It was part of our contract.
Serious.
Get the damn 52 over, no storylines. We specifically shook on that, and then we signed in blood.
I said I wasn't opposed to doing story.
I don't want more than one of you in my apartment.
This is already one too many.
Well,
No.
Look,
Bye.
I just
I don't
wanted
care.
to
Shut
be
up.
able...
Shut up. No.
Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
Bye. Bye.
I was gonna be able to start using this thing.
No.
Bye. Give me this goddamn. One thing is enough, not two at the same time. It's
Enough.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
Give me that. All-Star Western #1.
From DC Comics.
give me that. I don't know what to
It's
think.
great.
I don't know what to think about All-Star Western because it's not like a superhero name or somebody's name on the comic. So it's out of all of them.
Yeah.
Western.
Aside from
comics.
DC Universe Presents, this is like the
Yes.
other more uniquely titled.
Exactly. It seems like it'll be more of a type of story than necessarily maybe one story.
Right, or just all their old Western characters in one universe that's tied into the universe that also has meta-humans.
Well,
but later.
We have later, but we can see here this is that guy from that horrible movie hanging out in Gotham.
But Jonah Hex is awesome.
Jonah Hex is awesome.
I mean,
that movie was bad.
before that horrible movie came up, Jonah Hex is awesome.
Yeah, but once again, this is for new readers. If they've seen him ever, they may have seen him in an episode of Justice League Unlimited, and they may have seen him in that movie.
Right.
So our cover here, we're in Gotham.
We are in Gotham. We're in early Gotham. So this is going to go all Gangs of New York on us.
Hell yeah.
With Jonah Hex, and I am totally sold.
So he's definitely got this. It's trying to be a little bit old. It's not like pure sepia. We still got some like other colors in here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the colors on the cover more than what's inside the cover, but we'll inside the book. But we'll get to that.
Well, it's almost painted.
Yeah, it's very painterly. What's inside the book is very painterly as well, but very muted. All reds and browns.
This is going to certainly stand out. I mean, the logo All-Star Western. It's not going to look like anything else that's on the shelf.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you got a little bit of see that obviously it's going to be Gotham, and we see Jonah Hex. Western comic book, Western cowboy stuff has been getting a little bit more popular lately.
Yeah,
or at least
Cowboys
when this
versus
came
Aliens,
out, which wasn't all that great, as I heard. Half of it was good.
I haven't seen the movie,
but this is also going to stand out. And on by chance you're going to a comic book store and you like westerns, you're definitely going to be like, "Ooh, what's this?"
And you go, Jonah Hex.
Yeah, it's got Jimmy.
I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah. I have seen the movie.
So, Gotham City.
With Jimmy Palmiotti. Yeah, come on, he's great.
Gotham City, the 1880s.
Fuck yeah.
And it's grimy as hell.
Very, very... Oh, hey, I didn't notice this sort of red skull in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's fucking Gotham, man. Nothing is ever right and has to be.
I love the art in here. It's very subtle in a lot of ways. It's very muted, very... It's very sepia toned. You do occasionally see bits of other colors, but it's all yellows and oranges and very warm and it's grimy. It's meant to look grimy.
Yeah, like there's a color of rust is most of the thing. Rust, brick.
There is decay everywhere.
So we have narration going on, which we'll later find out is going to be another protagonist. But there's one narration box in here, which is a little bit of, I don't know if they're trying to be a bit meta with the new 52 here. It is not the same. It never will be the same. It can pass through forever change, but it cannot go back. So
yeah, it might be a little bit meta.
A little bit of a metaphor,
but it's nice and subtle.
It's nice and subtle. Crazy. But we're also it's also being a little bit meta for Gotham City because we know that there's a future of Gotham City unless something really, 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 really bad happens. But I kind of doubt it.
Yeah, not in this story.
So we open up. We have a mysterious cowboyish like figure with his horse waltzing into town.
Dude looks fucked up.
And a lot of the narration boxes are sort of kind of talking about just in general like man and civilization, being kind of
it's
philosophical and shit.
Yeah, for the 1880s.
Yeah, whereas bloodshed is happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bloodshed with this dude who looks like half of Clint Eastwood and half of a side of beef.
Oh yeah, he's basically like Wolverine with no healing factor.
Yeah,
this is what would have happened to him.
Pretty much.
So this cowboy guy gets into a little bit of a skirmish here with the local brutes,
and you realize that you don't fuck with fucking Scarface, man.
That's true.
Anyone who could possibly be given the nickname Scarface is not someone you want to fuck with.
Mm-hmm.
So, then we come up to the other side of the city several hours later.
Mm-hmm.
Ta-da!
And
which is when the police finally show up several hours later.
To some this isn't to that.
Well, it's not like they could pick up a phone and call the police.
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
Waltz on over to the other side of town.
Yeah. Also, this is not for that murder.
Right. This is so. There's this other murder, which a doctor, an investigator, and the police are all like trying to figure this out. And
there's Dr. Arkham, man.
Yeah.
Like an ancestor to Psycho Boy Arkham, who created Arkham Asylum.
Mm-hmm.
And
the world's most revolving door asylum in the world.
Actually, I've read ahead. This is the guy who founds Arkham.
Ah, awesome.
Okay.
Even better.
So, we have this murder. There's these bloody sheets covering what's left of a body, basically, with meatus or something like that.
Yeah,
written in blood on the wall.
Yeah, it's this killer has gone all helter-skelter and...
Seven a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit of Seven, a little bit of Charles Manson going on here, and pretty much everybody in the comic is, acting appropriately for this time of history, and our protagonist, Dr. Arkham, is taking things a bit further. He's into the early days of psychology, so he's trying to figure out what this killer is after by way of personality and profiling.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it's very interesting. It's kind of steampunk psychology.
Meteus is Latin for fear.
Yes.
And apparently this is a serial killer. There's been other messages and such. And
killing prostitutes, and the word on the wall is always fear, only in different languages. So...
And we've already seen a bit of the art treatment here. That we got really heavy lines, inks, and like the background is definitely a background. Like in this other panel here, where the doctor goes into the background, he's a little bit more muted in color.
Yeah, and washed out.
Yeah, than like the characters in the foreground. So. There's certainly some thought and play with the artwork here as far as who's important, what's important right now, and
exactly. It very much does a good job of leading your eye into what you need to be paying attention to.
Right.
I mean, without those big bold lines, this would just look like a mess. It'd be very hard to pick out what's going on.
Yeah. Right.
But it's
expert inking and wonderful coloring that complements each other.
Yeah.
So and very very browny, very sepia-like, very very few, mostly. It's mostly reds, to be honest.
Yeah. it's funny because they keep referring to Jonah Hex's uniform, which is a Southern civil.
It's a Confederate set.
It's a Confederate uniform, and they go, "He's in gray. That's not right. We won. He shouldn't still be wearing that." But you can't tell he's wearing gray.
Yeah, like everyone's wearing gray. Like, what the fuck?
A good thing they mentioned it in the dialogue, otherwise I would never caught that.
Right.
I mean, I know that's what he wears.
Except for the CS on his belt.
Yeah, that's kind of.
It reminds me of this scene in Red vs. Blue where Griff's sister shows up and they get confused about what team she's supposed to be on. She's supposed to be on the blue team, and Griff is on the red team.
Griff? Yeah. This might be a bad time to bring up the fact that my sister is colorblind. What?
I don't get it. What's the gray guy so upset about?
Jeez. Okay.
So,
in any event.
All right, so we got
Jonah Hex shows up to be part of this thing. He's like, what the fuck?
Like, what is he doing here?
Yeah.
And he drawls and punches his way through the scene, and it's pretty awesome.
That's what he does, man.
Yeah.
And it winds up that the erudite Dr. Arkham has to team up with the grimy, in-your-face Jonah Hex.
It's a buddy cop western.
It's a buddy cop western.
Yeah, man. It's the freaking tin horn, highfalutin motherfucker.
Yeah.
And the grimy fucking was a Confederate soldier, got a face that looks like fucking Two-Face, took a shit. The guy... These are two people who will not get along. They're from completely diametrically opposed views and society in every conceivable fashion.
And it's interesting because you have Dr. Arkham is the main character, so all the over dialogue is his, and so there's a lot of this comic spent on psychoanalyzing Jonah Hex.
As if we're like reading his notes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so he's sitting here watching Jonah Hex like rip apart a bar in a bar brawl. And he's like, oh, he seems to have unresolved anger issues. It's hilarious.
Yeah, and the great thing about it, though, is this keeps the mystique of Jonah Hex.
Yes.
If all this was Jonah Hex's inner narration and we learned everything about him, he'd lose a lot, if not all of his mystique.
Yeah, and instead what we have here, all I can hear is the theme song to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah, he's just destroying people.
And breaking shit. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're looking for answers in their own... We got crazy cop and really bad cop.
Yeah, like
Jeremy,
Arkham's way isn't working, my way will.
Yeah.
and vice
so there's
versa.
like several pages of just bar fight and the guy psychoanalyzing Jonah Hex and
it works very well.
So we eventually get some information from
a prostitute that Hex knows.
Well, I was going to say a nicer name than that, but
well, she's a prostitute.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
she's at least $1 prostitute. She's not one of the dime prostitutes.
Well, $1 was a lot more back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's easily one of the dollar prostitutes.
Yeah.
And he gives her money to, stay away from turning tricks for people.
Yeah. Like, don't get fucking killed.
He knows that this guy is on the prowl for prostitutes.
Yeah.
And
he's trying to look out for her. He's a nice guy despite being kind of psycho.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it doesn't work.
Yeah, we
spoilers.
It's not. Is that entirely a spoiler?
No.
No, it's only.
It's one of those women in refrigerators moments where it's kind of like women die in order to give motivation for men.
Yeah.
Oh, and we get a new message: Jonah Hex, leave Gotham.
I wonder what language that is. That it spells fear.
So I don't know. It's actually it's
a very long comic.
It's very
it's dense. It's very
and I think it's a few extra pages long. It's
awesome.
It's longer than 22 pages.
Right. It's kind of hard because it's obvious. It's clearly a sort of investigation and a psychoanalysis sort of thing. So it's very heavy. It's got a few action scenes, but it's very heavy on the dialogue.
Yeah, and then it starts getting into conspiracy stuff.
Yeah,
and going into the
high society,
and the underground of Gotham.
And to realize they both are one and the same.
Yeah, it's because it's Gotham.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this has always been the case for Gotham.
And it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah, especially when we get towards the last sequence, we get more of that high society angle in there, and there's a little bit more color here too. The amount of color pops in and out depending on just a little bit of factors. It kind of throws me a bit.
Well, because you're in this high society scene, you know, you're inside,
Yeah.
it's well lit.
Well, even
it's not as
before.
grimy as the Gotham streets.
Right.
So
And on top
see
of that,
more
you have to be able
color.
to see the difference between these guys in, you know, northern
Yeah.
military outfits and Jonah Hex,
Yeah.
who's wearing
Right.
his gray, you
Yeah.
know, CSA stuff.
And
So-
and also you have to be able to tell at a glance that you're in the same scene. So
Yes.
there's some subtle color changes in between scenes.
Yeah, so we might get a little bit like we know you know and you know we know sort of thing
Yeah.
of what's going on here. And in retrospect, as far as what we're basically given some information, figuring out who could it be, we got several suspects.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like it all that much when I read it. Maybe because, you know, thinking about it now and what you have said to me before is, you know, it does feel like an old school Western movie. But maybe the first 20 minutes, which aren't
Yeah.
entirely
Yeah.
that engaging.
Right.
So-
Even though it packs a lot of information in, it is a slow burn. And it's a complex story that requires more than what you get in this first issue. But for me, I think...
What do you think?
Oh, I think it's awesome. I fell in love with this comic, so I
Succeeded.
think it succeeds. It introduces the characters, it gets you engaged, it gives you a lot of story in the first issue, and but not enough for you to really see where it's going. So
Yeah.
I like it.
I give it the same. I give it a succeeds. It's definitely one of those. Okay, hold it. It's definitely one of those really cool books that's just very different from the rest. You know, if you're kind of sick of superheroes, but you're already kind of in the DC section or however your comic book store happens to parson it out, it's one to give a read to. You know, and if you've ever been a fan of westerns, yeah, it is kind of like the first 20 minutes of a good western movie, so you're not getting everything, obviously. But if you're just like a fan of murder mysteries in general, if you like Silence of the Lambs, if you like Seven,
Yeah.
give it a look. At the very least, give the first issue a look and see if it grabs you.
Yeah.
So
Especially now, you can thumb through the other ones.
yeah, now there's more out. Yeah.
As far as what a first issue is supposed to do, for me, it didn't really get me enough into it, but I think everything is there to be a successful first issue. As far as, you know, whether it's just mostly going to be whether or not it's your thing. I think, you know, you got the
Yeah.
introduction of the characters, you got the story set, you got the mystery going, and you got the clincher at the end. That's, well, it's not like so much of a clincher, but just like it's going to lead up.
It's like,
All right,
oh,
there's more. There's more than just a simple answer. So
Yeah.
I will have to give this one a succeeds, and that is All-Star Western #1 from DC Comics, New 52. Remember that we abridge these issues, and the show is by no means a substitute for reading it yourself.
If any of these comics pique your interest, there's many places to pick them up.
We highly recommend that you check out your local comic book shop first, as that is the best experience for reading comic books.
Otherwise, there are many sources online where you can read and buy comics in a digital format.
Places such as on Comixology, you can get DC Comics and IDW Publishing. There's also Marvel Digital Comics, Dark Horse Digital, and Graphically as but a few places where you can get digital comic books.
So buy them.
Yeah, you have no excuse.
Woohoo!
Now.